like to welcome you to Deep Wells. I'm excited to share with you. My name is Michael Lusk, and I thought on this first episode, episode 0, I guess, I'd like to kind of share a little bit about myself, where I come from, and also what my purpose is for the Deep Wells podcast. What's the purpose of this show? What do we want to accomplish? And I really hope to bring you some content that will encourage you, that'll be interesting to you, and hopefully help you on this journey of life that we're all on together. I'm an explorer, I'm a traveler. I've been all over the world. I've been to 5 continents, Australia and Antarctica, about 30 countries I've traveled in. I really love to travel. I find it so fascinating to learn about different cultures, different ways of life, different languages. I've been a musician really my whole life. Just about. I've always loved music. I've been playing the violin since I was 9 years old, and, just in fact, the other day, talked to my violin teacher from way back, and she's still teaching to this day, and we've had that relationship for all these years. And so, that's really been a big part of my life is my love for music, my love for the violin. For a while, I was thinking about becoming a soloist and kinda was headed in that direction when I was maybe about, junior high, high school age. I realized that, I had some different aspirations that wouldn't really allow that, because to be a solo violinist, you're talking about, probably minimum 4 to 6 hours a day of practicing, and I just was not gonna go down that road. I just didn't want that, and so that was good to know. It was good to find out. But, I do love the violin. I have recorded an album. You can get it on all the major streaming services. It's called Peaceful Violin Worship. Another interesting factoid, I actually played in an Argentine folklore band, native style Argentine music when I lived there in Argentina. It was called Nuevo Amanecer, New Dawn, and we would travel around, and we weren't a hugely popular band, but we loved it. We had people that enjoyed hearing the music and, a positive message that we brought to people, and so I enjoyed that time while I played there in Argentina. And I played in string ensembles, youth symphony for several years, and really enjoy anything from classical to, of course, folklore music that I mentioned. I love, Southern rock, a lot of different musical styles. I love languages. I, of course, was raised speaking English. English is my native language, but I learned gonna get this out of my mouth. Sorry. Got a hair. That's the problem with beards. You get beard hair. Anyway, learned French when I was in high school and really took an interest in that. Then about 18, I started studying Spanish, and my Spanish really took off. My French has kind of lagged behind a little bit. You get more occasion to use Spanish, at least in my part of the world. I love languages. I've also, in graduate school, I studied biblical Hebrew and Koine Greek, which I love. I love being able to interact with those languages. And then I'm also learning Latin right now, teaching myself Latin. It's kind of a slow process, but I'm not in a rush. But I just love languages. I love literature. I love all of that. History. I'm a huge, huge history buff. I've got a master's degree with an emphasis in historical theology, and just have really enjoyed the intersection between culture and history and theology, philosophy, all of those cultural issues, ethical questions, that kind of thing. And I wrote a book. I'm an author, and written some poetry unpublished. But my main book is called Patricius or Patricius, depending on how you've learned to pronounce Latin. I didn't even know how to pronounce the name of my own book properly until a few weeks ago, so don't worry if you didn't know. But it's called Patricius. It's the story of the life and the mission of St. Patrick of Ireland. It's historical fiction. A lot of people have really enjoyed it, so you can check that out if you're interested, if you like that kind of thing. But as far as deep wells, what are we doing here? What do I hope to accomplish with this podcast? There's so many podcasts. I love podcasts. and each one has its own focus, its own type of flavor. And my hope for Deep Wells is simply this: it's to look at ancient insights for enduring questions, questions that human beings have asked way from the beginning and right up until modern times. I think they're questions that are really inborn, they're on board, if you will, maybe hardwired, organic into our nature, our humanity, things that we've carried with us generation after generation, these enduring questions. And I want to look at deep insights, deep ancient wisdom from different sources. How have human beings over centuries, over millennia, struggled with these existential questions, these big questions? And how can those questions and the answers that have come across the human mind inform our decisions, inform our lives today? And so I hope that Deep Wells will be interesting to you, engaging. I hope to bring in some guests occasionally to talk about different topics of interest. Now, just for the sake of full disclosure, I am a Christian, and so I'm going to speak from a Christian perspective, but I also hope that this is a safe place where, whether you're a Christian or not, whatever your faith, or maybe you have no faith, that this is a place where you can explore some of these big questions and hear some interesting conversations and hopefully take away some things that will be food for thought. As a Christian, a lot of my travels have been as a missionary. I was a missionary, involved in missionary activities really from an early age. At age 12, I went to China on a mission trip. That was my first mission trip, and just about my first time out of the United States, other than a trip over the bridge to Canada. I was raised in Michigan, and so Canada's a pretty low-hanging fruit for a visit. We were able to do it in the day, but other than that, China was my first international experience, my first really cross-cultural experience. Not too long after that, at age 17, I traveled to India, and these two ancient cultures, I mean, really multicultural, even within those political nations, these huge populations, millennia long history, mixing pot of all kinds of religions and beliefs that have crossed through and increased these cultures. Just amazing places. I mentioned Argentina already. Just shortly after my wife and I got married, we moved down to Argentina as missionaries. We lived there for about 5 years. Our little daughter was just a baby in arms at the time, and really grew up during preschool age in Argentina. And eventually we moved back to the United States. But we love Argentina. The culture is just so vibrant. The people are so warm, so friendly. And we just love that connection that we've had there, all the memories that we have. But in this podcast, I want to bring in those experiences. I want to bring in the guests' experiences. I want to bring in insights from history to have some interesting conversations about issues that have mattered to human beings for a long, long time. And I'm sure they matter to you as well. So welcome to Deep Wells. Let's enjoy the journey together.